New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Welcome to Girls Behaving Metaphysically. Your hosts are two girls who believe that life is awesome, that laughter heals, and that it's possible to find deep spiritual insights in everyday experience.
Here come the girls.
It's more than practical.
Here come the girls.
Way more than merely factual. If you want to know the secrets of a life, it's free. Listen to Girls Behaving.
Hello, and welcome to Girls Behaving Metaphysically. Surprise!
Well, I know, I wasn't quite ready.
This is Girls Behaving Metaphysically. I am Robin Rice Olmsted.
And I'm Dr. Natasha Wilson.
Lovely Dr. Natasha Wilson. And I am producing today. Yay! So we came in a little early since we were a little late. Okay. But we're here, and we're happy to be here, and we're glad you're here. So, hello and welcome. And let us know in the chat where you're tuning in from. And we have a cool show today. I think it's going to be an interesting topic. We're talking about friendship. When I say that, I think about, did you ever see that Lucille Ball, I Love Lucy episode with her and Ethel where they're singing that friendship, and they're, yeah, it's a funny clip. Anyway, so yes, friendship.
Yes.
Friendship. So
Yes.
Speaking of friends, we would love it if you would be our friends on Facebook and any social media or anywhere you see our stuff. Like it and tell your friends, because we'd love to talk to you.
To talk to you, to be your friend.
Be your friend.
Yeah.
So how are you? How's the heat?
Yeah, it's actually, I actually went out for a walk this morning, which was nice. It's morning here. So it's I don't know, it's not as intense as it was a couple days ago or last week when we had the heat wave. But yeah, we're still in the middle of summer, so we're gonna have some more, I'm sure, really hot days. But yeah, how's the weather there? Because that's what's making the news, all the cold.
We're not cold here, really. I mean, we're cold. But like right now outside, it's sunny. Like I stood out there in the sun, and it felt like it was 60-ish, 70-ish, in there. Like the sun was hot, but then when it's cold, it's, 40, 30, 20.
Yeah.
But we're not as bad as some places, like my friends in Tennessee and places like that. The snowstorms and they've had water pipes bursting and trees coming down, and it sounds horrific.
Yeah, I spoke to my parents on my walk this morning, and they're complaining about the cold, and they're in New Orleans.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, New Orleans and Florida is complaining as well.
Yeah.
But, repeat after me. There is no global warming.
What? Why? Why would I say that?
I'm just saying.
Oh.
The powers that be are like, no, nothing's happening. Nothing's
Oh, yeah. And there's no climate change. I see what you're saying. I'm like, no, the climate is changing. It's already changing.
It is already changing. Hi, our producer has arrived. Hi, good to see you.
I can't hear him.
It's okay. We're practicing reading lips.
Oh, we still can't hear him.
So we can't hear you, but whenever you're ready to talk for loudly, we're here for you. Okay, so
yes,
so we're here, and
Yeah.
we're going to talk today about friendship.
yes.
And
Specifically, like, I think like making friends later in life, right?
well, I think so.
Or maybe even later in life, or just when we're adults. Maybe not later in life. I think sometimes the language we use is kind of crazy. But as adults, making friends as adults.
Okay, so that is one of the topics we will talk about. Um, yes, Michael.
Hi.
Hi.
I was in the other studio. I'd created it, and you're here.
We didn't see it.
I
We were
didn't see it.
waiting.
It was there,
There where?
over there, there.
At your house?
It was over there.
We didn't
Okay.
see it, Reverend Michael.
We didn't see it, and she was calling me, and I waited. I made it at like 4:00 because we didn't have one up.
Okay,
At
well,
4:00 my
I
time.
did. I kept looking for one, but that's okay. I'm glad we're on the air and everybody's here. And hi.
Hi. Hi. All right. So the title of our show today is "Are Friendships Harder Now, or Is It Just Us?" That's the title of our show. So we will explore all different aspects of that. But now that Michael's here and able to facilitate this time, it is time for the card pull of the week.
All right, I'm shuffling.
Because
So you
goodness
tell me-
knows, guidance is always good. Last week we pulled Turtle, which told us to just kind of ground and allow Mother Earth to, be our teacher.
I got to tell you, I dreamt about turtles at least 3 times this past week.
Wow.
Yeah, at least 3 times this past week. Yeah.
Nice. All right, stop.
I'm shuffling. You tell me when to stop.
Stop.
All right. So I'll pull this one. It's on top. Malika of Staff. So I have to look it up because this is the Sufi tarot. And we pulled the Malika of Staffs, which are wands. So let me just see. Okay, here we go. Give me a second, because I'm not sure what the Malika corresponds to. I don't know if it's like the. Okay. What I will say about staffs are they're connected to the element of fire. Their colors are red, orange, and yellow. And in general, staffs or wands are about our inner magic and also about passion. And so that's the card. Yeah. So now let me just find out what the Malika. The Malika of Staffs is correlated to the Queen. Okay. All right. So, and the card came in upright. So the card upright is about confidence, passion, independence, determination, upbeat, energetic, courageousness, taking your power back. Oh my God. Okay. I'm going to tell you why I'm saying, oh my God. Oh my God, because I was on a walk this morning and I was just letting, like Apple Music play, how like they just send you songs based on
what they think you'll like.
And this one song came on that I actually shared it with my best friend this morning. I said, girl, you got to listen to this, right? My best friend in Maine. And the name of the song is I Call My Power Back. Nice. I want you to listen to it. Oh my God. So anyways, sorry. Taking your power back is what the card is about. Oh my God, Sharon, I hope you're watching this. Anyways, because this is what we were talking about on my walk. I'm so excited. Okay, anyways, let me read it. I love synchronicities. All right. So the Malika of Staffs is the queen of light in every way. Self-assured, upbeat, unapologetic. She is full of ideas and brings her fire to all that she does. Oh my God. The other thing is I'm going through with a couple of clients every year. I take a couple clients through the 21-day consciousness cleanse. And at the core of this is tending to your internal fire every day, right? So anyways, I just love this. I love this. Okay. She's all about success. She is fueled by her inner radiance, and she embraces the 5-pointed star within, representing the outer form of a human being, the head, 2 arms, and 2 legs, and the heart in the center that both creates and reflects the divine light. When this card appears for you, you are being encouraged to embrace your fire as a positive, creative force and allow it to give you the power and dynamism you need for your plans and enterprises to become realized without becoming overbearing or destructive. I'm going to stop there and go to the contemplation. So here's the contemplation. What fills my heart and mind with passion? The other question for contemplation is, what dims my flame? The affirmation is, I create with love and passion. I'm so into this card right now. It is just too synchronistic for my morning. I got to call my friend. Sorry. But
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, I think it's synchronistic, period, because it's all a form of what we talk about and what we've been talking about, and what we're talking about is needed right now in the world, you know. I mean, yeah, and there's just so many places, you know, in my personal life and on a global level, and all, you know, all different nuances of this card make sense.
Just that last, the last line at the beginning of the reading, right? Calling back or taking back your power, and hearing a song with that title this morning, sharing it with my friend and talking about why it's so important more than ever right now to call our power back from any place we left it, or any place we gave it to, or any place it's been siphoned without our consent. And I think it's critical that we do this right now, like, because otherwise then our power is being utilized for things that we don't necessarily want to see. So I wonder, what would it look like if we collectively called our power back from all the spaces that we've either given it unconsciously, had it siphoned without consent, or gave it over without even knowing? Yeah. The world would have to look different.
Well, and I think it speaks to, I mean, yes to all of that, and I think it speaks to intentional living, you know, and what would it look like if we really stayed in intentional living, you know, not just when we're doing a meditation, or, you know, doing something we deem spiritual, or, you know, but really intentionally being aware, like really when you know, I mean, you know, it's kind of funny because it's almost in order to integrate, you almost have to be schizophrenic on some level.
Okay,
Like,
you're gonna have to talk that one through, sis.
Yeah, get out of the clinical. But I mean, because it's really being able to not only be in the moment, but to witness the moment, and check in with yourself, you know, like, no, when you're giving up your power, or when you're, you know, I'm aware now, you know, like there's different buzzwords for me, right? So the minute I hear myself say, "Ugh, I don't care," I know I'm full of shit, generally, you know, like, it's like, I don't care, just do it, whatever it doesn't matter. And it's like, is that true? It's not. It's generally not true. I do care. I just don't have the energy to fight it, or whatever. You know, I'm giving in to whatever the moment's holding.
Yeah, I'm not doing it. I don't know. I'm still sitting with all the synchronicity. I'm sorry. I'm like just blown away right now. Like, it's even though I'm blown away, it's like, yes, this is what we live. Like, right?
Exactly.
This is what new thought, ancient wisdom is, right? Like this is it. So these synchronicities, they still blow me away. And then I'm like, oh yeah, of course, it makes sense, but they still blow me away.
They always. I was having that conversation with somebody the other day who was my practitioner at one time, and she's been in New Thought a long time, and we were talking about the whole weather thing in her house in Tennessee, and she was telling me about with the weather and the snow and the floods and the this and the that, and she was telling me about it. She went to her house and she said, Robin, I went to my house, I walked in, and there was this water leak and blah blah blah, and she said, literally if she had walked in 20 minutes later, the whole thing would have fallen down, and this and that, and like a whole slew of things that would have happened. She's like, I could not believe how good and how God is and how this happened. And I'm like, isn't that funny? Because like we can't believe it, and by the same token, we expect it, and but like it never fails that I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened, And I said, but then I thought there's a part of that it's not really I can't believe as much as I really like still being in the wonder of it all.
Yeah.
Like it wouldn't, I don't want to be like, well, duh, duh, I prayed for it, or but I mean, it's, so it's an interesting dynamic.
Yeah. I think that's beautiful, because it's like at the core, it's the heart of what it means to be a mystic, right? A mystic means many things, but one thing for sure is that we remain open to the mystery. We still remain in awe.
Yeah.
Right. So even though there are some things that are demystified, when they happen, it still creates awe in us, right?
Yeah.
Because we don't have control over it, right? We're in the flow of it. And when we are, and it feels really good, and we can acknowledge it, it creates an awe in us. And again, I think that's the heart of like mysticism, which is why I love Rumi. Rumi is one of my favorite mystic teachers. So yeah.
And a fine one he is.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about that mystical thing called friendship when we come back. Well, it's a very sacred and mystical and, metaphysical practice on some levels. So we're going to talk about all of that and the challenges and all the things that come up around that when we come back. So join us in a few minutes after these words from New Thought Media Network.
Please help us say thank you to all of our organizational sponsors, including the Hepperlin Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Center for Spiritual Living United Life, Sunshine Cathedral, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Universal Joy Center, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Home Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. On behalf of New Thought Media Network, thank you, and please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, come be you. Come expand your spiritual journey. Join us for Just the Talk, Sundays, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Experience Unity Kitchener and Ottawa. Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Unity of Garden Park, New Thought, Philadelphia, the Sunshine Cathedral, Unity of Savannah, and the Ohm Center for Spiritual Living. Come unleash your spiritual potential with New Thought Media Network.
Welcome to Girls Behaving Metaphysically. Your hosts are two girls who believe that life is awesome, that laughter heals, and that it's possible to find deep spiritual insights in everyday experience.
Here come the girls.
It's more than practical.
Here come the girls.
Way more than merely factual. If you wanna know the secrets of a life that's free, listen to Girls Behaving Metaphysically. Listen to Girls Behaving Metaphysically.
Hello, we are back. We are
I
Girls
was
Behaving
tired
Metaphysically.
of that song.
I know, right? It's so
so
great.
good.
Our song makes us happy. Thank you, Ray Davis, who is the voice and the creative genius behind that song. So thank you so much. So we're here today to talk about friendships and what that means. I mean, I do think that friendship is one of the most sacred metaphysical practices that we have, and I think that it's it's a place where our souls meet without pretense or judgment, and where we can be witnessed and challenged and just loved into our next evolution. And I do think it's different when you're 6 years old and that's happening, and then when you're 40, So we're just going to explore that a little bit. So
Yeah. Are friendships harder now, or is it just us?
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's both. I don't know. Yeah, I look at my daughters and I look at how easily they make friends, and how many friends they have. And then I don't know. I've been living here pretty much full time for 8 years, and I think maybe I've now made like 2 friends.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So what do you think? So what makes it harder? I mean, obviously there's circumstances of our lives. We're all busy. We all have different things we do. But what do you think it is that really, I don't know, makes it harder to initiate friendships as we age?
I don't know for sure, but when I think about the experience of my own life, and and I'm someone that has lived in different places, and most of the time when I've moved somewhere, it's either been connected to like school or work, and so there's sort of social networks built in already, and so it's easier to form connections and friendships with people in those types of environments. But when I went into private practice, it's very isolating, right? I don't have colleagues. I'm no longer in school for anything. So I know like that's just one component. I think the other thing is I'm really mindful now, even more than I was, let's say, even 2 years ago. Like I feel like what I do now like when I was younger, I felt like I gathered friends. Now, in my 50s, I feel like I curate my friendships because it really matters to me who comes into my space. I am someone, like, I have to be, if I'm in friendship with you, I have to be able to take my mask off, right?
Right.
And before, I didn't realize the way wearing a social mask, not on purpose. I think we just all do it. Sometimes I think those of us who are neurodivergent, we may do it more. But the level of exhaustion that comes with that. So it's really important, like, that I'm mindful of who's in my, who is privileged to be in my circle, because one, I don't want to have a mask on. The older I get, the more I accept the way my brain is wired. Yeah, and I need friends that go to bed at 9. Like, I can't, you know what I mean? Like, things are just like, I'm just yeah, I'm more choosy. So I don't even know if it's like hard. I think it's just,
Well, I think that makes a lot of sense. I think, and as when we were younger, it was a different, level of playing. It was a different playing field. I mean, you didn't. Yeah, we weren't as particular because we weren't as focused on different things. Whether it's kids or family or your spiritual center or your creativity, whatever it is, we're much more focused on now. Then it was more like, oh, cool, you like that kind of music too, nice. And it was easy. It was a different, I don't know, a different inroad to the to what
yeah.
to being friends.
That's true. That's true. I think there's also, again, like, this piece that I think that I've learned since understanding, again, my own neurodivergence. Like, because even when I was younger, even then I said I gathered friends, I never actually had lots of them. And I think that's because I don't have the social bandwidth to have lots of friends, because I also I require a certain amount emotional depth to actually feel connected to someone. Yeah, and that's not always what people are into. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I die. Small talk really does, like, it. I think it chips away at my soul when I have to engage in small talk.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So I don't know. I was never, and I think about it, I was never good at small talk. The only time I was good at small talk was like when I had to go to an anthropology conference and I was drinking the whole time. So then I was, and then I can small talk the world away.
Then you were more social. Yeah.
Small talk. Yeah.
Well, I just want to reiterate that today we're talking about, are friendships harder now, or is it just us? And I want to welcome Rana to the platform. Thank you, Rana, for being out there. Rana, who is a good friend of mine, I will say. So we're talking about just how challenging it is to make new friends, or what that looks like or brings up.
Yeah.
And I was sharing earlier with Natasha that I have a friend who's pretty much like you, has lived in a different location for about 8 years, eight years or so, and has really found it challenging to make friends, even though they're involved in a spiritual community. It hasn't been the experience that the previous spiritual community was. So is that about spiritual community, or is that about age? You know, is that about where we go at different ages and what becomes important to us?
Hmm. Yeah. And I said, I think it is a combination of both things. I think we're older, what matters to us maybe changes, and every spiritual community is different. It is different, you know? So, I don't know. I just know at this point it's important that I curate my friendship circles. Like, and I never gave attention to that before, ever. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, I think, we step into knowing more of what we want as we get older and more of what's important. And, our friendships is really a spiritual mirror, right? I mean, it's who we attract reflects where we are in our journey and where we want to go. And, like you
Mm,
said, you don't want to do small talk or, yeah.
yeah. I can't. I that's the other thing I've accepted. I can't do small talk. And that was something that I had to learn about myself. Like, I literally can't do small talk. I mean, we can talk about the weather, but then I'm like, how can I get out of here? Right? I just, like, something in my nervous system. I just can't do small talk. Um, yeah, I don't know.
So for the person who's out there that is really wanting to expand their circle of friends in a different way, like how do you do that? How does one do that? Because I think also, you know, when we think about friendships, there's friendships that we've lost along the way
Mm,
that we may still wish we had, and there's others that we knew needed to go.
mm,
And so, but when, I'm curious for the person that's like yearning for friendships
mm,
because I don't really know the answer to that.
yeah.
I don't even, I mean, yeah, spiritual community is always an interesting inroad, but, and we could say joining clubs and, pursuing your hobbies and all of those things. But like, where, where do we go? Where does one go that wants to do that?
I don't know because honestly, and I hope this doesn't sound hopeless. Like, I thought I had created friendships through an interest, a hobby. For me, it was dance, and unfortunately, you know, it I did come. It was actually quite traumatic, that experience, and I hate to say that. So because I thought I was creating friends, and but that wasn't the case. So yeah, it can be tough. Now, I'm saying that, and I also know that, we live in an age where we have access to certain type of technology that we didn't before. And there are actually, like, apps that are for making friends, like Bumble BFF. Uh, but even then, it's like so funny because I went on there and it's like in a 2-week span, I had like all these friendship dates. And I was like, oh my God, this is like worse than dating. So I was just like, I was so tired. I was like, oh my goodness. I don't think I'm going to make friends ever. Anyways.
Yeah. 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 And I see all the chat in the chat, attending a local spiritual center and joining clubs of interest. And yeah, I think those are good things. And so I guess I'm asking to, I'm thinking, what makes me want someone to be my friend? Because at this stage of the game, for me personally, I have great friends and I
Yeah.
love them. I have
Yeah.
really good friends and I have a lot of them. And
Mm.
people always say, you know, you only have really two good friends. Yeah, that's not the case for me. I
Mm.
have a lot of people that I consider good friends or close friends or that I can turn to. Thank you, Rona. And you know, so what makes I was thinking, what makes me want someone to be my friend? And having moved to a new city and a new spiritual center, um, I was thinking about that because I was thinking, well, who do I consider my friend from here? You know,
Mm.
or do I consider anyone my friend? And I would say that after being here for close to 2 years, I guess, like full time, there's probably one person, maybe two, you know, that have gotten in there. And I think the reason they're in there is because they weren't trying to be in there.
Mm.
You know what I mean? It just
Yeah.
was, it's just somebody that I would trust and I would talk to and I would, you know, go to. But I mean, I think that's nice hair. I think that, you know, like how do that? I mean, that's the question because I'm thinking about my friend who wants to make friends, and I'm wondering, like, you know, how do you is that because they want it so badly that it's not happening?
Yeah, you know, as you were speaking, what was actually like coming, like emerging for me is what would happen if we just leaned into the isness, right? So there's a longing. So let's say I have a longing to make new friends. Like first, I think it's important to sort of like be with that longing to try to like really understand the longing, right? And to acknowledge that it's there. And to acknowledge that maybe the friendships that we're craving, like what does it look like when when we fully accept, okay, that's not there. But you know that song I was telling you that was the not serendipity, synchronicity. There's this like verse in that song where she says, I may be walking through the door alone physically, but I have my whole spiritual team around me. And I think sometimes we forget that we are constantly surrounded and folded by so much more than friendship. And there's something, I don't know, I think there's something about leaning into our solitude. And when we do, and we hear, you know, like what the still small voice is saying to us without shame, because I think that's another thing. There's this like element of like, oh, you don't have friends or you don't have a lot of friends. You know, there's something that I don't know, it feels or it's been something that people should feel ashamed of or bad about. But I always say, lean into how you're wired and lean into the divine and the people that are meant to come into your space, they really will. Because that's exactly what I'm experiencing now. Like after I got off the BFF site and had all the friendship dates and was just like, my head was spinning. Like a couple weeks ago, I just got a call out the blue from one of my daughter's friends' mom, and both our daughters made the dance academy, and we, you know, we've seen each other, you know, off and on, and we're always like, we want to talk, but we never really had the time. But she just called me out the blue. She said, I saw you dropping the girls off, so I'm like, I'm gonna call her now. And she just called me, and so we're gonna hang out this Sunday. And I think there's just something about like releasing, or like, you know how sometimes we grasp or we try to make it happen.
Yeah.
But I think there's something about like letting it go. leaning into
Absolutely.
the stillness, leaning into the solitude, leaning into it, and letting life do its thing, you know?
Yeah,
Um,
and I think Arana spoke to it beautifully. Actually, she said for her, continuing to be on her life path, which is passion and mission based, that she's met the people along the way. And I think that speaks almost to, you know, I'm not going to say, it's not definitive, but certainly to some of the challenge when you're not connected to something, which is why obviously we say a spiritual center, or your hobbies or something that you're passionate about. It's obviously more challenging because you're not around like-minded people, right?
hmm,
But yeah, I
yeah,
think, and I think, like you said, because at this stage of the game, when we're um I was thinking auditioning for new friends, when we're open to new people coming into our life, like you said, it's definitely different than when we were younger, because it's a more honest and soulful and a connective relationship. Before, it didn't matter if everybody was into the same thing as you. There were, but now it's nice to have someone that understands. Not that it has to be that way, but you know what I mean. and
yeah,
and it's cleaner, it's deeper, it's more aligned, and we're not collecting people, like you said.
yeah,
We're curating resonance and experience. And yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sort of like, you know how you say you have lots of really good friends? Like I don't. I'm that person with the two really, really good friends. Um, and they live in the United States. They don't live here. Um, and
And for those of you just tuning in or that don't know us, Natasha is in Dr. Natasha is in Brisbane, Australia.
yeah, Queensland, sunny Queensland. Um, yeah, they so I don't have lots of friends. And part of that for me, I think I've shared with you, Robin, right? So in the process of my daughters having neuropsych evaluations, for like to try to understand their neurodiversity, I did the same and found out I myself am on the spectrum. And then my life just made so much sense, right? So because I was always the sort of oddball out, that was partially why I didn't, make friends. And I or made friends, like a lot of them, because I was odd, and I just have to own that. And now I do. I own it. I own there's just like this, like, oddness to me. Like when my friends were wanting to date boys, I was wanting to study all these religions in the world. My mom often said, there's these sort of two running jokes in my family, which to me is not a joke, but I get it. Like, I grew up in the Seventh Ward of New Orleans, and so we played outside. Kids played outside. They played on the street. Blah blah blah. And I remember I hardly ever did that. And one time, my mom was like calling and trying to tell me, go outside and play, go have some fun with your friends and your cousins. And she couldn't find me. And it's because I was in my closet with a like head lamp, reading a book, right? Because I just didn't want to be bothered. And, I was just I was an odd duck. So anyways, that's always a funny story according to my family. Um, but yeah, I'm just wired a certain way, and I really lean into that now. So yeah, there was something else I was going to say, but I
Well,
completely,
Rana's responding to your story, saying that, wow, that's beautiful. There's beauty in the oddness.
yeah,
Well, and that's one of the things we've learned these days, is there's beauty in the uniqueness, that we're not all the same. And Rana was also asking or saying about friends that we always will love, although we've gone different ways. you know,
Mm,
and
yeah.
that's a whole different show. I mean, but yeah, relationships that we've lost, and we've touched on that when we talk about grieving and things like that. But yeah, I mean, I think we outgrow friendships,
We do.
you know,
Yeah.
and it doesn't feel like it because we feel like, well, if they're our friend, we should be friends forever, you know, and it doesn't always work like that.
I don't know. All my friendships, to some extent, they feel like the one, like when I think about like my, oh my God, when I think about my best friend, I think about how much love I have for her. And part of the love I have for her is reflected in like our ability not just to be ourselves with each other, but to ask the hard questions in relationships and to work through um, ruptures when they happen, um, and to be committed to a repair process. Sometimes I feel like my friendships are like marriages. And yeah, like, I don't know. I just, at this point, I have, if someone's going to be in my circle of friendship, there needs to be a level of emotional responsibility and emotional, what's the word I'm looking for? Emotional intelligence. And because the way I relate is deep, it's in, like, I live in the world of feelings. I mean, I think it's why I'm good at the job that I'm at, mainly because I'm not scared of feelings. Um, and yeah, I don't know. What am I saying? Robin, why do I feel all over the place today? I don't know. But
Because you're still freaked out about our card pull of the week. You're still
and
on the synchronicity thing.
the synchronicity of it all, I know. And it makes me want to call my best friend after the show, but I don't have time. So
Okay, well, it's almost time for that anyway. So, as we leave, Rana is saying, "Oh yes, commitment to the friendship." Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it's true because there are times, and I mean, when yeah, it does feel like marriage and marriage and the commitment of marriage because there's times when like one of my closest friends has said to me, I don't know how you went through this last phase of his life with him. It's like, I don't know. You were the only person that's still talking to me, because not because I'm any better than anyone else, but because other people couldn't bear to see him or hear him talking about something that it was detrimental to him and to his health, and instead I hung in there and gave him the space to just talk about it without judgment kind of thing.
Mm.
But that said, I can't say that I was totally saintly, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that I, was always in the right mind because sometimes I wanted to kill him, and go shake him and go, wake up. You deserve better than this.
Mm. Mm.
So friendship is an interesting beast, I will say. I think that yes, we curate it in a different way nowadays, and it's not as easy to get in there and just make a friend.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just seeing that question from your friend. No, I am not a psychologist. I am a licensed clinical social worker and an anthropologist.
So there you go.
Yes.
So yeah, so I think that the best advice or suggestions that we could give people, really, even though I wish there was more, is really actually it probably came from Rana, just about following your passion and being true to your mission in life and trusting that your people will come and really being connected to your passion. And whether that's because, and whether then you can enhance that. Then you can attend a spiritual center. Then you can take an art class or a dance class, or, be in the special gallery showing at the museum, and find people that are interesting to talk to and all that, and find workshops and retreats and book clubs and gyms and all of those things, and it doesn't seem like an easy answer that somebody would have thought of.
Yeah.
I mean, wouldn't have thought of.
Hmm.
I mean, so there's more. I think it's an ongoing challenge, but I think once again, if we go to science of mind, philosophy, it really begins with ourselves.
Yeah.
So, I mean, because just even that connection piece makes me think, are you really connected to something, or is most of that happening when you're kind of sporadic and can't connect? Does that make sense?
I don't understand.
Well, well, okay. I don't know if I could do the 30-second explanation. I just mean, I don't think I'm even going to try. But yeah, I'm going to share what Rana said. Thank you so much, Rana, that our hearts found one another in spirit. So thank you so much. And Rana says, be your own best friend.
Amen.
Yeah, that's what
I was saying earlier too. That's another way of saying exactly what I was saying earlier when I was saying leaning into the solitude, when that longing comes.
Well, that's kind of what I'm saying. That's kind of what I was saying in that. But if I can't connect to being my own best friend, if I can't find joy and really be that, because there are people that can't be that because there's so much going on. It's like being authentic authentically happy and with yourself, and then with whatever you're doing, not like, well, should I be this or should I do that? I mean, I feel like I should. If you find yourself in the should category, you're not, right. Yeah. That's the quote is, don't should all over yourself. What do you really feel? What is your real passion? And can you connect to that and take that out into the world?
And I just want to say this, since, one of my anthropological foremothers, I'm sure she's Zora Neale Hurston, right? Her amazing ethnographic work in Florida and Louisiana and Alabama was part of the pull for me wanting to be an anthropologist. But she has this quote that I love, and she says, why anyone would deny themselves the joy of my friendship is beyond me. But that, what that speaks to is someone who enjoys their own company and who knows, I really do enjoy my own company. I'm so funny. Sometimes I'm just I'll think of a thing and I'll just start laughing. I mean, I just enjoy my company. And in order for me to be friends with anyone outside of myself, I have to be able to be that version of myself at this stage in my life, right? The mask must be able to be off.
Yes. And I also think friendship requires vulnerability.
Absolutely.
And
real friendship. Absolutely.
Real friendship. And not the dramatic kind, but the everyday kind, just really being able to share yourself. And you can't do that if you don't know yourself, So there's our tips for this week.
Okay. Go out and make friends.
Go out, be vulnerable. Yeah. But no, really, go where your soul really feels at home. And you'll find the people that feel like home for you. And Ron is saying, she actually, there's a song, she's sharing a song that we used to sing in the Agape choir that goes, I love myself so much that I could love you so much, that you could love you so much, that you could start loving me.
All right. You follow that.
Follow that, hit rewind. We'll do whatever you need to do. But whatever you do, come back here next week and we'll see you on Girls Behaving Metaphysically. And
All right.
get a job and get a friend. That's what we're on.
About to go.
So, there
Bye.
you
Peace
go.
and
Bye.
blessings, everybody.
Come expand your spiritual journey. Join us for Just the Talk. Sundays, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Experience Unity Kitchener and Ottawa. Center for Spiritual Living Midtown. Center for Spiritual Living Denver. Unity of Garden Park. New Thought Philadelphia. The Sunshine Cathedral. Unity of Savannah. And the Om Center for Spiritual Living. Come unleash your spiritual potential with New Thought Media Network.